Remy Ma walked out of that courtroom smiling, again. Not a care in the world. No cuffs. No consequences. Just another win for the rich and reckless, right? But this time, someone was done playing the legal game. Because just minutes later, outside the courthouse, the cameras were rolling, and so was blood. What the media won't tell you is that a silent war had been brewing for months. The victim's daughter? She wasn't just grieving, she was plotting. And when the court failed her again, she took matters into her own hands. They say justice is blind. But this girl? She saw everything. She hired someone. She pointed. And Remy, still basking in that courtroom glow, never saw it coming. Was this revenge or desperation? A setup or street justice? One thing's for sure, what went down wasn't just a scuffle. It was an attempted execution. On camera. In broad daylight. And now the real question is, was Remy Ma the criminal or the target all along? Stay tuned. This story isn't over. It's about to explode. It all started in the same courthouse where celebrities walk in guilty and stroll out invincible. The kind of place where fame and money weigh more than facts and justice. Remy Ma, the hip-hop icon turned business mogul, had just faced her third court hearing linked to a fatal shooting involving her son. And yet again, she emerged untouched, no charges stuck, no cuffs clicked. Just that smug smile on her face, walking past the flashing cameras like she owned the entire judicial system. But what the cameras didn't catch, at least not yet, was the storm building behind those courthouse walls. A storm with a name, Jasmine Dior. Jasmine, the daughter of the man allegedly gunned down in cold blood by Remy's son during what insiders claim was a drug-fueled feud over territory, had been watching everything. Silently. She sat through every court date, every technicality that got Remy's legal team another delay, every smug look thrown across the aisle. And each time that gavel hit and Remy walked away free, a piece of Jasmine's hope for justice shattered. Because here's the kicker. This wasn't just any street beef. The man who was killed, he wasn't some gang leader or underground criminal. He was a father, a community mentor, and someone trying to leave the street life behind. And his daughter, now motherless and fatherless, was being forced to watch the person she believed ordered his murder smirk in her face and walk free. Now, let's rewind for a second. Remy Ma, once hailed for her comeback story after serving 6 years in prison for assault, had reinvented herself. She launched businesses, reality TV appearances, and began calling herself an advocate for criminal justice reform. Ironic, right? A woman who once pulled a trigger over a few $100s now preaching about second chances, all while allegedly covering up her own son's blood trail. But the real scandal began with the whispers. Quiet rumors leaked to a few bloggers who, let's be honest, were too scared to publish them outright. Rumors that Remy had paid off a key witness, that her legal team was stacking the deck by getting judges reassigned, and that the entire case was being kept low profile due to her public image. Then came the FBI leak, the first spark in this media wildfire. According to anonymous insiders, and by that, we mean people who clearly wanted the truth out but didn't want to be named for fear of retaliation, a private recording surfaced. A wiretap, to be specific. The kind that doesn't just magically show up unless someone in federal law enforcement wants it to. And guess who was on it? Not just Remy's son allegedly bragging about how clean it went down, but also a muffled female voice in the background. A voice many believe to be Remy's. Calm. Controlled. Almost rehearsed. The tape reportedly included phrases like, "Make sure no one sees him coming. Don't leave anything behind. If he talks, we're all dead." Now, we're not saying this is definitive proof. We're just saying, if that's not the language of a murder conspiracy, what is? But even with all that, when it came time for court, the prosecution failed to enter the recording as evidence. Why? Chain of custody issues, they claimed. The judge dismissed it. Another technicality. Another smirk from Remy Ma as she strutted out the courtroom in designer heels, waving to cameras like she'd just walked off a red carpet, not a murder trial. And that's when Jasmine snapped. According to sources close to her, friends, family, even an ex-boyfriend who claims she changed overnight, Jasmine wasn't just grieving. She was transforming. She started digging, hiring private investigators, collecting old texts, burner phone receipts, and even traffic camera footage. And more dangerously, she started asking around in the streets. Because if the law wasn't going to punish Remy Ma, maybe someone else would. What people don't realize is how deeply connected Remy still is. This isn't just some former rapper with a publicist. Her family, her son, her husband, they're all tied to street networks, political favors, and old debts that still buy silence in certain circles. It's not about rap anymore, it's about power, influence, and the kind of leverage that keeps blood off court records. So when Jasmine showed up to this latest court hearing, the third in a year, the one everyone swore would finally break the case, she came different. No longer crying in the back row. No longer holding on to hope. She came with a plan. Eyewitnesses reported seeing her outside the courthouse that morning, speaking briefly to a man in a gray hoodie and black gloves. One witness claimed she pointed toward the entrance as Remy's black SUV pulled up. And even though the cameras were all focused on Remy's arrival, no one paid attention to the girl standing motionless beside a fire hydrant, watching, calculating. Inside the courtroom, it was the same circus. Lawyers bickering over procedural missteps. The judge shaking his head. And eventually, as expected, another dismissal. Remy Ma, once again untouchable. She walked out of the courtroom smiling. But this time, that smile didn't last. Because as she stepped onto the courthouse steps, flanked by her bodyguards, the crowd shifted. A sudden panic. A man emerged from behind the parked news van, face covered, hands steady, and lunged toward her with a metal rod in hand. Cameras dropped. Screams erupted. Remy's security tried to react, but it was too late. The weapon cracked against her side, and she went sprawling to the ground, blood running down her arm. And in the chaos, Jasmine? Nowhere to be seen. She was already gone. The scene outside the courthouse was pure chaos. News crews scrambled to reposition their cameras, not to cover another smug celebrity walkout, but to capture blood on the pavement. Remy Ma, the unshakable figure who had just walked out untouched for the third time, was now being dragged back inside the building, clutching her arm, eyes wide in disbelief. This wasn't part of the script. This wasn't in the headlines her team had pre-written for the next day's blogs. This was real. Paramedics rushed in within minutes. Police cordoned off the area. But even in the confusion, one thing was clear. This wasn't random. This wasn't a mugging gone wrong or some deranged fan moment. This was a hit, and before the blood had even dried, the internet had already made its judgment. #RemyGotHit started trending on Twitter within 17 minutes. TikTok clips from shaky courtroom journalists went viral in seconds. Zoomed-in stills of the attacker's hoodie, grainy footage of the impact, all of it circulated like wildfire. But what really lit the match was a viral tweet from a burner account that simply said, "You can only buy your freedom so many times. Justice has its own soldiers." The tweet got over 500,000 likes in one night. And the replies? Full of support. Not for Remy Ma, but for the attacker. People started calling him the real DA, Jasmine's hitman, and even the people's judge. Because here's the twist. Remy wasn't the victim anymore. Public sympathy didn't pour in. No one held candlelight vigils. Instead, the online world erupted with applause, because for many, it was the moment street justice finally beat celebrity privilege. That night, fake news pages were having a field day. Remy Ma's days are numbered. Anonymous threats pour in after attack. Remy Ma paid to bury the case, but someone paid to bring her down. Who really ordered the hit on Remy Ma? Sources point back to the victim's daughter. And then, just when things couldn't get more bizarre, someone leaked an email thread to an underground news blog. The emails, allegedly between Remy's publicist and a private investigator, discussed controlling the narrative, scrubbing certain surveillance footage, and preparing for a potential counter-lawsuit for defamation. But that's not even the wildest part. 3 hours after the attack, a burner phone pinged an anonymous voicemail inbox belonging to a known New York City street blogger. The robotic voice on the line said, The first strike was just a warning. Next time, we aim for silence. The phone call, timestamped and geolocated within a 2-mile radius of the courthouse, sent the internet into a frenzy. Conspiracy theorists started connecting dots between Remy Ma's past enemies, her husband Papoos's recent silence, and even former terror squad affiliates who had mysteriously distanced themselves from her. One TikTok user claimed to have slowed down the attack footage and caught a frame where Jasmine, yes, the victim's daughter, appeared behind a car, wearing sunglasses and a hoodie. The same TikTok got 3.6 million views within 12 hours and sparked a brand new theory. Jasmine had orchestrated the attack with military precision and then vanished into the crowd like a ghost. But here's where it gets even darker. Sources close to Jasmine say she had visited a gun range just 2 weeks before the court date. Surveillance footage shows her at a private facility outside of Newark, New Jersey. Paid in cash. No paperwork. No registration. When asked by the instructor what her goal was, one anonymous staffer told reporters, she said she wanted to learn how to defend herself and win. Coincidence? Or preparation? And if you think this is the first time Remy Ma's walked away from something burning, think again. Back in 2007, she served 6 years for shooting a friend in the stomach over $3,000. A friend, mind you. That case alone should have ended her career. But somehow, she came back bigger, richer, and more media-trained than ever. Now jump to 2019, when a former assistant accused her of orchestrating threats and harassment to keep certain financial records buried. Again, charges dropped. No evidence. No media coverage. Just whispers. And now, in 2025, her own son is wrapped up in a murder case. A man is dead. The daughter is grieving. The system is failing. And Remy? She's still walking red carpets like nothing happened until now. And yet, despite public outcry, no arrests were made after the attack. The NYPD issued a vague statement calling the incident under investigation and refused to comment on whether Jasmine Dior was being considered a person of interest. Her apartment? Empty. Her phone? Disconnected. Her social media? Wiped. And within 24 hours, she had vanished. But here's the plot twist no one expected, and it's about to lead us straight into part 3. Because as investigators pulled courthouse surveillance footage to identify the attacker, they noticed something even more shocking than the ambush. Remy Ma's security guard was seen stepping away just seconds before the attack began. Now, ask yourself this. Was this just bad luck? Or was someone inside her circle ready to let her fall? As the smoke cleared from the media storm, Remy Ma found herself in a position she hadn't experienced in years. Vulnerable. No lawyers to spin the narrative. No producers to protect the brand. No applause waiting outside the courtroom. Just blood, betrayal, and a city full of questions that nobody wanted to answer. The most glaring of them all? Why did her bodyguard move away right before the attack? Security footage from the courthouse entrance, now leaked to an independent investigative channel, clearly showed her lead bodyguard, a man named Kareem Stacks Douglas, casually stepping to the left, pretending to take a phone call just moments before the attacker swung. It wasn't just bad timing. It was precision, almost like it was rehearsed. And now, Kareem was nowhere to be found. His apartment in Brooklyn was cleaned out overnight. His phone disconnected. His bank account? Emptied. Flight records showed a one-way ticket booked under a fake name, leaving JFK Airport just 5 hours after the attack. Final destination: Panama City. Investigators privately admitted they believed the attack wasn't just revenge. It was a coordinated hit. One that possibly involved insiders, including someone close to Remy. And that changed everything. Now, let's talk public backlash. Because while Remy's team tried to downplay the incident as a random act of violence, the public wasn't buying it. Protesters started showing up outside her press appearances. Hashtags like #FreeJasmine and #JusticeForHerDad flooded timelines. People weren't mad that Remy got attacked. They were mad she got away with everything until someone decided enough was enough. Even politicians started weighing in. A local New York councilwoman tweeted, "We must stop letting wealth and fame rewrite justice." No one is above accountability. That tweet went viral. Overnight, Remy Ma went from rap icon to symbol of the system's failure. Brands began pulling out. A haircare line paused their endorsement. A reality show postponed its premiere indefinitely. Behind the scenes, damage control was in full swing, but the problem was bigger than bad PR. For the first time, Remy Ma wasn't just being judged by fans or critics. She was being watched by the feds. That's right, a federal investigation was quietly reopened. Sources from inside the Southern District of New York confirmed they had begun looking into financial transactions involving Remy Ma's legal team, her publicist, and certain court officials. Subpoenas were issued. Wiretap warrants approved. The case had gone from celebrity scandal to a full-blown racketeering investigation. And guess what name came up again? Jasmine Dior. Because just when everyone thought she had vanished for good, another bombshell dropped. A video message sent anonymously to 3 media outlets. In the grainy, dimly lit clip, a hooded woman speaks directly to the camera. Her voice distorted, but her words crystal clear. This wasn't about revenge. This was about justice, the kind that the court refused to give me. I didn't want blood, but I couldn't let my father's killer smile again. You call it a hit. I call it survival. Don't look for me. Look at who's protecting her. The video sparked a second media explosion. Was Jasmine really behind it? If so, how did she escape so cleanly? And if she could outsmart Remy's entire security apparatus, what did that say about the system Remy built around herself? And then the final twist. A sealed FBI document, accidentally leaked by a junior analyst, revealed a wire transfer of $75,000 made from a shell company owned by Remy's longtime business associate just 2 weeks before the murder of Jasmine's father. The recipient? An unregistered consulting firm in Delaware. The same firm later linked to a string of underground cleanup crews used to handle street-level retaliation jobs. The implication? Remy Ma may not have pulled the trigger, but she may have funded the entire operation. That changed everything. Suddenly, this wasn't just about one murder. It was about a pattern, a web of silenced witnesses, paid disappearances, and miraculously lost evidence that stretched back years. The public demanded arrests, indictments, a new trial. And Remy? Well, Remy vanished too. Just days after the investigation was reopened, her social media accounts went dark. Her phone disconnected. Paparazzi outside her home reported no activity. Rumors swirled. Was she in hiding? Was she fleeing? One wild theory claimed she was negotiating a plea deal in secret to avoid a public takedown. Another said she had fled to the Caribbean under a fake identity. And the most chilling theory of all? That she wasn't running from the law, she was running from whoever turned on her. Because in her world, betrayal doesn't end in lawsuits. It ends in silence. So now the question isn't just, did Remy Ma order a hit? It's, who's going to survive to tell the truth? This story may have started in a courtroom, but it's spiraling into a full-blown underworld saga, where fame can't save you, money can't protect you, and the only justice left comes from people who refuse to forget. Was this a cold-blooded assassination attempt from a grieving daughter who finally broke? Or was it a carefully orchestrated street message designed to show Remy Ma that her kingdom is crumbling from the inside? Is Jasmine a vigilante hero? Or a ticking time bomb? And what about the leaked footage, the insider bodyguard, the shell company payments, the vanishing acts, the burner phones, and the anonymous threats? Is this just the tip of a much bigger iceberg, one that's been buried beneath celebrity privilege for years? Drop your theories in the comments. We want to hear everything. The conspiracies, the receipts, and the questions no one's asking. Don't forget to like, share, and hit that subscribe button, because this story is far from over. More leaks are coming. More names are about to drop. And trust us, you don't want to miss who's about to get exposed next. We're not just reporting gossip. We're bringing you the truth they don't want you to hear. Because when the courtroom fails, the internet delivers. Stay tuned. Stay watching. This isn't a headline. This is a warning.